Okay, in this video we're going to talk about how to quickly put together some basic widget designs in PowerPoint. I find PowerPoint very useful for this purpose. It's got a lot of the things I want, a lot of the shapes I need. It's pretty quick to throw things together, and I always have it sitting around as opposed to a more specialized tool. So I'm just going to show you some of the techniques I use. So let's get a blank slate here. And what we want to do is we just want to put some shapes on it. And the shapes I use the most are obviously a simple rectangle. That one we use a lot. Ellipses are nice. You can make round buttons. You can make nice stylish looking things out of that. Another standby is the rounded rectangle. And PowerPoint gives you quick and easy control of how rounded you want that to be and what the size is you ought to have it in. The other thing I like is you can put labels on it real fast. That's just it, label. And we can do a lot of quick changes. Sometimes I will frequently use the polygon for specialized things. I'm drawing a little fast here because you don't want to watch me be more detailed. If you're struggling with being able to draw something fast, down here we have a zoom. So I invite you to zoom in a lot and draw at a much bigger size than you actually want this thing to work at. Basic shapes. We'll assemble a lot of things out of rectangles. Now let's look at the kind of things we can actually build with this. So here are several that I've already done. Notice this button. We're going to do a button like this. It turns out the PowerPoint gives a really easy way to get these dimensional shapes with shadows and all sorts of cool stuff. And then I'll show you how to capture that. Here I've used a little bit of a gradient on this text box. And here we use these dimensional things to throw together a scroll bar. And down here, this is sort of a prototype for a video system where I want to scrub back and forth in my video. And this shape right here, pulled it straight out of PowerPoint. It was just easy, quick to throw together. So a lot of shapes to get us what we need. If you're really, really artistic, you probably want something better. But for a lot of us, this gets us a long, long ways in a real hurry. So let's talk about the steps we go through to actually build a widget. And what I want to do is I want to talk about the four basic states. The four basic states are disabled, enabled, hover, and active. So enabled is sort of the passive state that you see most of the time. Let me show you an example here that I did for a video controller I was working on. So these buttons you see down here are in their enabled state. Now if I move the mouse over here, notice this one goes into its hover state. In its hover state I made it lighter so it would stand out a little bit. When I move over a different button, it goes into hover state. It just shows me what I'm currently selecting, shows me that they're active. And then of course if I push down on one of them, now I eliminated all the gradients, so now it looks flat, like it's been pressed down. And I darkened it a little bit, and that's its active state. So basically what I've got is I've got standard enabled, hover, active when I press on it. And then another very common state is, and you'll see this up here, these are all disabled. Notice they're not reacting at all. These over here, they react. See their hover state? These over here, they don't react. That's because they're disabled. It's because the things I've currently got selected, they don't apply. It's very important to provide a disabled state for your widgets, whatever widget you're designing, because frequently you don't want to make it disappear. You just want to make it not working right now. Okay, so that's your four states. And in a lot of cases, you can build those four states just by drawing images of them. So let me show you a quick way to assemble a button. I'll go up here. I'll give me a rectangle. I'll come down here and make that rectangle, and I'll label it. I'll call it button. And for my button design, I don't want the white. I want it to be black. So I change the font color. And I don't like that fill. I want it to be a richer, brighter sort of blue there. And I want my outline to be black and not quite as big, so I'm going to change the weight here down to maybe 0.5 point. Okay, there I got a button. That's my enabled button. When I do these designs, I always start with the enabled button, or the enabled whatever the widget is that I'm building. Okay, then I grab it, make a copy of it, paste it. I'll go over here, and I want to make a hover version of it. So let's say for my hover version, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. So I'm just going to change that fill color to just a little bit lighter than before, so that when I go over the top of it, and then what I'm going to do is I'll make a copy of that, and I'll drag it over here for my active state, and I'm going to take the outline, I'm going to make it white, and I'm going to give it a lot of weight, so I'll make it fat. Okay, so there's my button when it's sitting there normal. If I do a mouse over it, it's going to get a little bit lighter, and then when I push on it, it's going to make the halo, make it look like it light up. Okay, pretty quick, pretty easy. Let's take this one over here, make a copy of it, and do our disabled one. We want to do our disabled one. What I want our disabled one to do, see how these right here shrink into the background? Okay, when they're disabled. That's what I want to make it do. So first thing I'll do is I'll change the fill, and I'll make it look more like the background. Maybe right there. And then I'll take the outline and I'll get rid of it so it doesn't stand out anymore. And then I'll come over here to my font and make it gray. Okay, so it's still there. It's a button. I don't like the color on it actually. Let's select that again. Let's make it a gray. There we go. Now it stands out even less. So it's there. You can read the label, but it's not going to be in the way. Alright, this basic 4-button mechanism is a standard way to build things. A 4-state mechanism, I should say. I've illustrated it with a button. It works for scroll bars. It works for all those other widgets we talked about, which is it's enabled and it's ready. I have put the mouse over it so it's reacting. You want things to react so people know they're there. Active, when I actually am doing stuff in it, then this is what it's going to look like. And disabled, it's going to look like this. Very quick, very easy. We'll move on and do some more exotic things in the next video.